Welcome back. Sonny, let me come back to you to continue from where we stopped.
The lawmakers, their duty is to cross-examine any budget that is being sent to them from the presidency. They have the right to look into it, and things that were not well implemented, is their duty for them to implement it. So in this case, what we should be looking at, those things being added, are they to benefit their selfish interests or to benefit the life of Nigerians? Those are the things we should be looking at, because I believe that they have the right and the duty to add things into the budget, but that does not give them the the right to add in anything that comes into their mind and try to add it because they have the law. So what we should be looking at is to look those things they added, if they are obtainable within the constitution framework. So those are the things we should be looking at.
Some have alleged that some form of executive interference is responsible for this situation. Do you share the same view?
It's politics. When Obasanjo was president, he interfered all across the board. When someone like Gigi was president, he was extremely hapless and intervened really nowhere. So really it comes down to the leadership style of the executive. That's the whole point of having a separation of powers. As long as the judiciary itself does not get political, personally, I am okay with the executive and the legislative arms of government, for lack of a better term, trying to checkmate each other. It's healthy for democracy.
Well, like Mukhtar said, it's politics, all right? But when you look at the way our politics has been ran over the past few years, then you come to an understanding that the interference of the executive, it's not needed, because the National Assembly has to be independent, has to be independent in order to carry out its duties. So having the executive being involved in all of this is going to make things a lot harder than it is right now. And if we look at this whole thing, everything stemmed from people wanting to be in the good books of the president. I mean, Jibril and Dogara were in good terms. As a matter of fact, Jibril actually was a strong behind Dogara when he was running for the speakership. So him turning around now against him means that there was something happened before, and all these things come down to all of them wanting to be the good books of the president. So the interference of the executive is going to make things worse than it is now.
All right, some have also called for the resignation of Speaker Dogara while an investigation is carried out. Do you think that it is a step in the right direction?
While an investigation commences, I also think Dogara and Jibrin and all the other people mentioned ought to be investigated. Nigeria deserves that at the very minimum. And of course, we also have to hold the president responsible for not doing due diligence in passing a budget that many of us, including myself, said was padded going into the House of Reps and the Senate, a budget that many of us said was padded as soon as it was passed by the National Assembly, and yet and still the president still signed it into law. Ultimate responsibility rests with him, and quite frankly, from all we're hearing and from all we've seen, he did a very, very, very horrible job in letting that budget become law.
You see, if you want to be seen as a leader that people should depend on, it's very important for your integrity to be on the high. That's number one. And number two, you have to take responsibility where you fail. And in cases like this, where you have been bundled into an ocean of allegation, you have to step aside to allow investigation to be thorough. But this is Nigeria. It doesn't happen. All right? It doesn't happen. It never happens. Maybe never will. All right? So the suggestion that he should resign is not going to happen. All right? But I want to believe also that the House Committee on Ethics and Privileges are going to take these allegations very seriously and then have all of them investigated, and then the public are going to know the outcome of the investigation, which I believe might take close to 6 months before they get back to us.
All right, guys, that will be all on the program today. Thanks for coming on the program again and sharing your thoughts. But we have to leave the conversation here. We'll take another break, and when we return, we'll be joined by a political scientist to get more analysis on this topic. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back. Now, joining us to continue this discussion is a political scientist, Boladale Adekoya. It's a pleasure to have you on the program.
It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, so as it is now, it's no longer a house issue. It's out in the public domain. Do you think the anti-graft agencies should come into play here, or they should still use their internal mechanisms to sort out this quagmire?
Now, looking at the mandate of the EFCC, most especially, I think this is a financial and economic crime, or allegation rather, and I think it's really important that Nigerians, especially this is the money in question are public funds, and if they have really mismanaged it, then it is really important that the EFCC get involved. Every other agencies of government also, that is security agencies of government also, they should also get involved, because largely if you look at it, it is a betrayal of trust. It is a betrayal of sworn oaths, and it is despicable. It should be condemned by every individual, and largely also these two individuals that are allegedly involved, and even the broad side also, the committee members also, and also members of the principal officers of the House of Representatives also, and from allegation from Honorable Jibril, they are also involved. The investigation should be carried out, most importantly, and if they have found one thing, they should be dealt with.
Well, I am, of course, like you said, it's a win-win situation for Nigerians. But then some are now beginning to be curious. What budget are we running on? Are we still running on the padded budget? Because the budget wasn't, the president did not assent to the bill because he felt there were a lot of discrepancies, in the bill. So he had to look at it, scrutinize, and here we are. Some things are coming up. Are we operating on a padded budget?
Well, I don't know the issue of padded budget or not. I think it first came from the presidency before it got to the House, and the House felt, okay, they should also repad it. And now we had almost 3 or 4 times padding. I think it's unfortunate. The SGF also raised an issue on the issue of the federal government being unable to pay for constituency projects and the likes, and it was also part of the debate that was going on the issue of implementing the budget. I think it was passed. Maybe because nobody has the insider information on what actually happened. But I think it was actually passed. It might have been reduced because at the point in time why there were a lot of discrepancies on the budget and allegations, and the Senate president, he refused to assign to the budget. And later he called for the meeting, the speaker was there, the Senate president was there, and they have meetings. Of course, you will believe that a lot of negotiation will probably come in. And at the end of the day, he signed the budget and it became a law. It was a few weeks after that the SGF came and he said that that federal government could not fund constituency projects, which shows that the constituency project was still included in the budget when it was signed. So of course, maybe federal government is now looking at the pragmatic aspect of his finance, and he's saying, oh no, that the constituency project they have to go. But I think by and large, it boils down to looking at what is the effect of this crisis to average Nigerian. I think that's the most important thing. If it doesn't, because to me, I see more of two individuals, two corrupt individuals that are fighting each other.
I mean, you don't have the right to declare them corrupt. It's
left
for the law courts to do that.
It's still allegations, though. But to me, from evidences that have been provided, I think they are nearing the bridge. It is unfortunate that we've trusted this sort of individuals.
Well, we have to wait for the law courts to decide that, or the anti-graft agencies. But just hold your thought for a second. We'll take a quick break. I'll be back. Well, let's take a quick break and we'll be back shortly. Join us again.